Good evening. The troubled train operator London Midland has been told today that its franchise to operate rail services has been extended until the autumn of 2015. This despite months of disruption which led to around 1,000 trains being cancelled because of a shortage of drivers.
Well, the announcement comes after government pressure forced the company to offer £7 million worth of compensation, including discounted tickets for the poor service. In a moment, we'll be talking to London Midland's Commercial Director Richard Brooks to get his reaction. First, though, our transport correspondent Peter Plisner has this report.
Months of misery for rail passengers. A shortage of drivers left many commuters waiting on platforms for trains that never arrived, or being crammed like sardines onto the ones that were left running. In the last few months, around 3% of services have been cancelled, but on some days up to 80 trains a day weren't running. Although it's only a small proportion of the 1,300 trains a day that London Midland actually run, most would agree that it was simply not good enough. But now passengers are getting compensation, with the government issuing the rail equivalent of a yellow card. Season ticket holders will get free tickets, while others will benefit from an extra 500,000 cheap advance tickets. London Midland has also committed to investing £2.25 million in measures to improve reliability.
Free tickets are always good, the discounts are good.
Trains are always going to be running late, no matter what they do really, unless they have the staff.
It's a shame it's got to that stage. It's a shame it doesn't happen before it gets to the compensation stage.
Today, it also emerged that London Midland has secured a 2-year extension to its franchise, something that's already angered rail watchdog bodies.
The problem is it looks a bit like a reward for failure, which is unacceptable. They really will have to show that they are on top of the service and making sure passengers get what they pay for.
But the government has been defending its decision, made, according to one minister, in the interests of taxpayers.
Well, it's not necessarily in the public interest in terms of the finances for the franchise to be terminated early. It's actually in the interest of the fare payer and the taxpayer for London Midland to sort this out.
And London Midland says it's done just that. It's adamant that recent timetable changes and the availability of more drivers has meant a much more reliable service for passengers. Peter Plisner, BBC Midlands Today.
And London Midland's Commercial Director Richard Brooks joins us now from Birmingham's Snow Hill Station. Thanks very much indeed for your time this evening, Mr Brooks. Now, after all the cancellations and delays, are you surprised that you've been given this extension to the franchise?
No, I think the announcement does two things today. I think firstly, with the package we've put together, it recognises the challenges we've had over the last 3 or 4 months. But I think it also recognises the delivery we've had over the last 5 years, the investment that's gone into the West Midlands, and I think allows us to move on now towards 2015.
Well, some of your passengers are quite surprised by this extension. If I can just read you one comment from Paul Clemens, who got in touch with us. The cross-city service is woefully unreliable. It beggars belief that London Midland have been given an extension to their franchise. He's just one of the passengers who has expressed surprise. What do you say to them?
As I say, I accept that, and I think if you look at the last 3 months, I can understand why that particular person would say that. As I say, I think you have to look at the last 5 years, see the investment that's gone into the network, and then I think for me, it allows us to move forward towards 2015.
It's not just passengers that are surprised. I mean, the travel watchdog, Travel West Midlands, has said that this is a reward for failure.
Well, as I say, I think my point is that I think it does recognise performance over the last 5 years. I understand exactly why that would be a point of view. I think what we need to focus on now is delivering a reliable and robust service to our passengers between now and 2015.
OK, let's move on to this issue of compensation, a package of £7 million of compensation that you're offering to passengers. With all the cancellations, you're going to have a lot of claims for compensation. Can you guarantee that you can meet all of those claims?
Yeah, I think this package is specific. I think it's appropriate, and I think it's exactly the right thing to do for our passengers. So I'm really happy, as I say, that we've been able to agree this and get this announced today.
Right, so can you meet all those claims for compensation you're going to face?
Absolutely.
So everybody that puts in a claim, which is a genuine claim for compensation to London Midland, will get their money back?
We have a process, and we will absolutely pay any claims that people are entitled to.
OK, and when you were last on Midlands Today in October, you were confident the new timetable introduced on the 9th of December would deliver a reliable service. Do you still stick to that?
The efficiencies that we brought in, the measures that I said we'd take on the 9th of December, have all been taken. They've come in very productively, and it's certainly added resilience and robustness to our service. There's no doubt about that.
So you're happy with the service you're now providing, and your customers are all enjoying a reliable service?
I think there's still, within the industry, there will always be operational challenges. Today there's flooding around the network, but I think in terms of what we said we would do in December, we have certainly delivered that.
Richard Brooks, thanks very much indeed for your time this evening. And we want to hear your views on this. Should London Midland have their franchise extended? What do you think of the compensation? Do contact us, email, Facebook or Twitter, and we'll have some of your comments later in the programme.
And coming up later in the programme,